Where's everybody? And they ready today. Make sure my hair is not out of place.
No, I know, honestly. Not well. Things that used to be baggy are like skin tight. Not like they're getting tight, like they're like, yeah, so we're having. It is easier, it's also maybe not the best solution.
That was the previous one, the one that you showed the previous time? What? That it goes off, okay, so that is different from the original one. So they do have two options. Just these. Yes. Oh. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know the band. That's the band in
They made copies of the agenda for you. Protective measures.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's not clear. Okay, good.
What is the, what is this? That's like some, you know what it looks like? Oh my God. I'm like, what is this? Maybe it's some decorations she ordered. They would have them sitting on the desk, put them back there. That is funny.
Oh, it looks like it's her birthday.
Oh.
There's a sign on the front that says it's her birthday.
Oh, okay, I can't tell. What is this? Yes, she got, I don't have this paper. Recreation. Sure. Sure. Do you have another one of these? This the vice mayor. I need one. Do you have another one of these? This was sitting here. I think this is hers. Do you have another one of those? Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Everything's okay. All right. All right.
How are you doing? How's your daughter doing?
Oh, everybody's good. I got a blue I got a blue outfit like that.
You got a flag?
I have an outfit with that color.
Oh, blue.
Yeah, I have that actual color.
Oh.
But it's a different style. It's a pants outfit too. Yeah, it looks good on.
I'm hoping it makes me look the 14 pounds lighter that I gained.
Yeah, hey, look, you're supposed to wear black. Got on blue.
Mitty, what happened to the clerk in Palm Beach Shores? Jude, did she quit? Just like that? I got an email today.
But that same word I heard. How are you?
Yeah.
Had a double day. Yeah, I heard it. That's what I heard. So,
All right, thanks. I should have grabbed one. I was supposed to grab one from the back, because just in case it don't operate properly. I learned not to worry. I learned just grab one on the way and I forgot. If not, just grab me a paper from the back, and that'll serve my purpose. Yeah, tell Sherry to show you that. We got a quorum. There's the third person.
Happy belated birthday.
Oh, he's fine. I'm so glad you're here, Vice Mayor. All right.
I can remove these.
I was wondering what was that. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Glad to be in the number one more time. Glad to be in the number one more time. After these storms. Yes. Yep, this one. Okay.
Glad to be here. Hi, Shorty.
Hi.
How you doing?
Happy birthday, I heard.
Thank you. Yes, I did have a birthday over the weekend.
You had a birthday.
My
What was your
mentor was
birthday?
one too.
What was your birthday? What day?
Saturday.
What day?
12.
Oh, you know what? I have a son born on your birthday.
Really?
Yeah, my oldest son. His birthday was Saturday too. We celebrated his birthday, said like belated birthday. Oh wow. Ha ha ha. October baby. The Turban babies in October, November. Ha ha ha.
Turban is there.
Yes, sir. Definitely November. Oh man. I have 2 Octobers. I got a boy and girl in October, a boy and a girl in November.
They give us a single.
Flip it over right now. I'm surprised to see mail in my name. I keep getting Earl mail. I just send it back. My name not Earl. Almost 2 years. So, whatever. I'm so bad. Hey, I like to keep things real. You're,
For the city, that's free.
And you changed that resolution.
I was trying to figure out where the heck is this?
Yeah.
I just saw your email.
I've been running around trying to find
Oh,
this
you know,
spot.
right across from
We're
the
just gonna
daycare.
make a on-the-fly
Oh,
modification,
and that
because the
corner-
resolution, they already did
oh,
this
right by
part.
the,
I'm just
I
gonna
looked over
on-the-fly
there and said,
tell
"No,
us,
that can't be."
approving the
You
sale
talking right there
of
off the
it, because that's what the
highway.
resolution now says.
Correct. You have it. Veronica,
I have a copy of it,
The
yeah.
daycare right here, where we had,
Okay, and the other daycare.
just past it on the other side of the street.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go look again, cause I'm like, where's this location?
Daycare is sitting right here.
Okay, it's on the opposite side of the daycare. Okay, I'm gonna go back in. And I'm like, where's this gonna be? This gonna be nice.
It is.
Anybody wanna rent their house? I don't think you can rent your house, cause they want you to have low income. I think they do that for the first like 10 or 15. That's what they did over there. The first 10, and then everybody start paying different rent. Like the new people moving in, they paying 13 and 20 on their job. I think that's probably how they do it. I just figure out to drive up there in this county area. Cause I'm like, look, we got to going through the back door. We need to go to the front. You hear me over here?
Yeah, we take it nice on and over the drive. We go over the door. Makes sense. Hello, good to see you. How you been doing, Councilwoman? Good.
Oh, look, they put the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's much needed, you know that. But it was seems need that.
And I like the little gray, blue gray color.
Yeah, I like to put the water from the park.
That makes it nicer.
Put the W somewhere.
So you're gonna correct
Very good. Now we just, first we did like a hospital.
the resolution, having the agenda is correct, the number and the title is incorrect. I used the last one. So Minnie's gonna correct it, the wording. This is Minnie's. Correct. I did the wrong one.
I'm gonna wear my outfit like that. I have an army color.
Time is because we like to have to open the phone.
It'll take too long for me to steam it.
It was really pretty.
So what?
Okay, Mark,
As soon as Kitty comes
but I'll
in.
wear them around.
People wait. What you looking for?
I look on my phone so I can see the text. So I went right from prison ministry, rushed home, changed my top. Came home.
I rush from the grandbaby.
I hear someone coming in, maybe that's he.
He's coming in. Sound like the door open. Sound like the door open.
Somebody bring him back.
That's what I said, sound like the door open. Ask him, just go ahead.
He's here? Okay. Manager said he's here.
Yeah, that's Minnie, I just copied.
Alicia.
All that formality.
Smells good.
That's Kalisha. But thank you for saying all those names one in one line. Too many names. I wonder by the time they finish billing this, I'll be old enough to buy one.
That late than that.
You're almost there now?
What is the requirement, 50?
Just send it on.
50, 850.
I thought it was yours. I was like, oh, like two.
I think they gonna
Good
fix that.
evening, good to see you.
Are they gonna fix the seawall?
I said, well, start again.
In traffic.
I understand.
I think that might be a condition, but I don't know.
All right, now, I'll get this thing going. again.
Fixing the seawall for this applicant.
I always forget how to get this started.
Well, but you know, you see the pretty place and the seawall don't look pretty. That's why I'm like, they ain't showing me the update. They ain't tell me what it's gonna look like.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to get ready to get started in just about 30 seconds, so we're going to give an opportunity, if you haven't already, to put your cell phones on vibrate, and then we'll get ready to get started in about 30 seconds. Thanks.
last week, last time ago. I did the last time. Sure. What about Ms. Dance?
What,
I can check with her.
what, to pray? I don't have no problem with it, but we should never get a chance to ask her first.
I asked about that, but it seems to me she needs to have a pre-warning.
Oh, okay, I don't.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
We're gonna get
Thank you
shorter.
so much for your patience. At this time, we're going to come to order. So at this time, we're going to call the Town of Mangonia Park Town Council meeting of October 15th, 2024 into session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Alberry.
Here.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Here?
Councilmember Buchanan Webb. Here. Councilmember Davis Quetz.
Here,
And Councilmember McConnell.
Here.
Thank you so much. We have a full quorum at this time, so at this time, let us stand for invocation, please.
good evening. Heavenly Father, I'd like to thank you for bringing us together tonight, Lord God, as we touch and agree in spirit and in truth. Guide us in our decision-making for the people. It is in the mighty name of Jesus. I thank you for your guidance tonight. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. So at this time, we're going to attend to our agenda, and again, we'd just like to thank everyone who's here, and if there's anyone also with us on our Facebook page and YouTube, we thank you for attending as well. So at this time, we'll see if there's any additions, substitutions, or deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, we don't have any additions or deletions, but we do have a change to the resolution that was submitted. I'll let the attorney explain a little bit further.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Just a minor modification to what's written on the agenda. The resolution number is correct, 2024-09. The resolution that's before you is actually a resolution approving the sale of the vacant strip of land. It says, resolution of the Town Council approving the sale of a vacant strip of real property in accordance with Section 223 of the Town Code. So if you could just have the amendment say that this is actually approving the sale of that piece of property.
And Mr. Mayor, the clerk has distributed the corrected version to everyone.
Thank you so much, and we do have that in hand. Thanks so much. So with that, we do have that slight adjustment. So with that, is there any motion at this point in time, seeing that there's no substitutions or deletions? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted with the resolution corrected?
So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved in second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. It is carried. And for our consent agenda, of course, if you're following along, all of those items that may be annotated with an asterisk or being considered for our consent agenda, we have none at this point in time designated, but if there's any items to be considered for the consent agenda, we'll consider that.
No, sir.
Okay, seeing that there are none. And for those who are with us, there are agendas on the back. Feel free to follow along with us, and thanks so much. So with that, we're going to move on to our agenda. Our next item is our Palm Beach County League of Cities. Amity?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a reminder, the next Palm Beach County League of Cities meeting is next week. That's October 23rd, 11:30. It's out at the Lodge at Westlake Adventure Park. The address is 5490 Kingfisher Boulevard out in Westlake. The presenter will be Wendy Link, your Supervisor of Elections for Palm Beach County, and she'll be giving you a presentation on the latest municipal information for upcoming elections. So again, next week, RSVP if you plan to attend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments for Amity? If not, we'll move on. Our next item is item 6A, and this is the resolution that we just had the correction on, and this is Resolution 2024-09, declaring surplus property for sale. Amity?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll read the title as amended on your agenda. This is, as you said, Resolution 2024-09, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, approving the sale of a vacant strip of real property in accordance with Section 2-23 of the Town Code of Ordinances, providing an effective date and for other purposes. Manager Metcalf, are you going to present this one, or do you want me to give him an explanation of the resolution?
You can go ahead on the resolution. I'll give a little background.
Okay, sure. Just a reminder, and this is all spelled out in the resolution, Mr. Mayor. But as you may recall, back in June of 2024, you adopted a resolution designating this same parcel. It's basically at the west end of 50th Street. It's was actually quitclaim deeded to the town. It's not a right-of-way, so there was not a process to abandon it by, through the abandonment process. If it had been a plat dedicated right-of-way, that would be the process. Because it was actually deeded to the town, the process is conveyance. So back in June, you adopted a resolution declaring the land to be surplus property. Manager Metcalf then went through the appraisal process. The town published a legal ad opening the town up to receive offers for a period of 30 days. What's before you in the backup is, and what's spelled out in the resolution is the town received one offer at the appraised value of the parcel. So the resolution that is before you tonight would be your final approval to accept the offer and sell the piece of property to the offeror, which is included in the backup. The gentleman's name is Al Sperling, who by the agreement that's provided in your backup, agrees at closing to assign the interest to AESPH2 LLC, who owns the property that's immediately contiguous on the north and south sides of the strip. As you remember, this is kind of just a weird sliver of land that really is not developable in its own right. It has to be combined with some other property to have a developable lot under your zoning code. So with that, I'll stop there, and if Manager Metcalf has anything else, I'll answer any questions that the council has.
Perfectly explained. I'll just add that staff recommends the approval of the resolution.
Okay, thank you so much. You've heard it read by title as well as a description of the proposed resolution. I know we've discussed it before, but we'll see if there's any questions or comments from council. Any comments or questions?
No.
Hearing none. Okay, I guess we've had full discussion. Okay, with that, you do have before you Resolution 2024-09, as stated, read by title. What is your pleasure as it relates to the proposed resolution?
And Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, one thing I failed to mention that I should mention is that your code does prescribe a process if the offer is less than the appraised value. That is not the case here. The offer is the exact amount of the appraised value, which is reflected in the backup documentation, which is $105,000.
Thank you so much. So noted. So with that, of course, for consideration, what is your pleasure? Excuse me. Is there a motion for Resolution 2024-09?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that we approve the resolution -2024-09.
Motion has been
As stated.
Motion has been made to approve. There a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any questions on the motion? Hearing none, it has been properly moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb.
Yes.
Councilmember Davis Quince.
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
And Mayor Alberry.
Yes.
It passes unanimously.
Thank you so much. We're going to continue to move on our agenda. Our next item is item 7A. And this is a consideration for the approval of a preliminary site plan application number SR 2024-03 and D-Flex Partner LLP located at the northeast corner of West Tiffany Drive and East Tiffany Drive. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, this has been in front of you on a couple of occasions, most recently 2 weeks ago. We did a soft presentation. The applicant received good feedback from Town Council. They're back before you tonight for preliminary site plan consideration, as well as to give you an update on some of your suggestions. Also, we do have our planning staff with us tonight, and we do have a staff report from Planning and Zoning that's been distributed to you, as well as a report from our utility engineer. And that's all that I have, if the applicant wants to.
Thank you so much. Amity?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a quasi-judicial item, so I need to swear in. Go ahead and pass that out. And then I need to swear in the applicants and any town staff who's going to be speaking on this item.
Thank you. Wow.
Just if you could state your name for the record. I know who you are, but just remind the council who you are.
Josh Nichols.
Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me? And I'll swear anybody in from your team as well. So if you're here to speak, do you all swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Let me turn back to the council and ask for any ex parte disclosures on this item. And just a reminder, the soft presentation, I would go ahead and disclose that as an ex parte. It was a public hearing, it was a soft presentation, you all were here.
Yes.
But any others that were not that presentation? No
I
other
don't think-
meetings or site visits or anything?
Nothing other, no.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, Josh?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice
Good
Mayor,
evening.
council members. Josh Nichols with Schmidt Nichols. I know you've seen us quite a few times over the last probably year or so, and we're hoping this is one of the big meetings that we've had on this project thus far. So this is for preliminary site plan approval for the Waterview Apartments at Mangonia Park. So what I'll do is, I know that we've talked at bits and pieces as we've gone through the process with variances that we've attained, some of the architecture we've talked about, but we've never really talked about the project in a whole. So want to go through that, and then we'll go through some of the changes that we picked up from the last workshop and how we incorporated those into the plan. So just to start, so slide 2 in the presentation on the bottom of page 1 there, that's just kind of to wet your whistle there of what we've done with the architecture, and we'll go through some of those details as we go through the presentation. Slide 3, top of page 2 there. So the formal request is for the preliminary site plan approval. This is an affordable rental community dedicated to seniors. As discussed, so this is 140 one-bedroom units, 112 parking spaces with 92 of those covered, which is on the first floor underneath the building, and then 20 surface spaces mostly for guests and other outside services that come in to help assist those folks who live there. There's about 16,000 square feet of amenity space, a plaza on the top of the parking deck that's in between the building, which you'll see a good picture of that later in the presentation. And we also have a walking path, and that was one of the things that was requested by the town, that we connect the walking path that goes through the planned commerce development and connect it through the site. So we did continue that. On the bottom of page 2 there, this is slide 4. So this is just giving you, I think everyone at this point knows kind of where the subject site is, but just wanted to make sure you orient yourself to that location. So basically at the corner where Tiffany makes that turn at the southwest corner of this development, overall development that we're sitting in right now. Moving on to slide 6. This is, again, just background how we got here in terms of zoning and land use. So the future land use is, designation is commercial, and the zoning is planned commerce park. So we do have those called out on the slide 6 there. So again, this use, the density, all those things we've gone through this process in coming up with our densities, with our heights, with our setbacks, all of those things have been addressed in part of that PCC zoning. So slide 7 on page 4 at the top there, and we have boards as well to kind of make it a little bit easier to see, but this is the site plan, which again, you've seen in past, but just want to make sure you're seeing it here. We do have, nice, all right. So we do have access here on Tiffany, right kind of at the bend. So this is a one-way traffic circulation. So you come in, we do have a drop-off here, and one of the things that we'll talk about is that weather protection for the drop-off. So we did incorporate that. And so as you come through here with one-way circulation, you come out onto Tiffany, and then you could either go right or left here. We also have an ingress-egress point at the northwest corner of the site, and that's to access the parking garage. So we do have that incorporated, and that's where those 92 parking spaces are held underneath the building. All the buffers, like we talked about, the walking path that goes all the way around the site, all that has been added. So that actually circumnavigates the entire site to provide, again, an additional amenity, and it also connects into the circulation throughout the Commerce Park. Because remember, we're in a larger planned development as a whole, and actually the town hall is part of that. So on slide 8, which is at the bottom of page 4, you have the landscape plan. So again, this has been reviewed by staff, so nothing new changed really there. But that area highlighted in red, the reason we highlighted that was when you go over to slide 9, the landscape plan, this is kind of a blow-up area of the generator. So there was a condition that we needed to provide additional landscape for the generator. So we wanted to show that this has been included and it's already on the landscape plan, but what we're showing here Then when you move down to slide 10 is at the property line, we've got small leaf clusia, which I don't know if there's any close around here, but anyways, it's a very dense hedge material. So that'll get about 6 to 8 feet tall and about 6 to 8 feet wide. And it's very dense. So you're not going to be able to see through that screen there. But to further that, we've also got podocarpus that's going to be planted right alongside of the generator. So it's going to be very difficult to see this generator. And that, again, that's already in the landscape plan. So we just wanted to make sure that that condition was satisfied to staff and to the board's liking. So let's move on to top of page 6, which is slide 11. So I think this is really where we get into the meat of our discussion, which was on the rendering. So last time we were here, there was some discussion on the colors, some materials, maybe some dressing up some of the window treatments, things like that, that we could do to the project. Also, the canopy coverage for weather protection. So we wanted to make sure we addressed all those. So we have our option 1 is what we've submitted formally to the town. So that's what you're seeing on the bottom of page 6, which is slide 12, and that's also to your right. So that's option 1. That's, again, formally submitted. So I'll kind of go through some of those items. So previously, that blue area that's on the corner, and also we do have the architect of record is here at the meeting today, so if there's any specific questions, we can kind of get into that, but, and Dan is going to play our Vanna White tonight, and so the blue area at the corner, that was previously white, and there were no louvers over all those windows, so again, it was more about breaking up the color scheme, bringing in some of those features to the windows so that it wasn't just looking like a blank wall. So that broke it up. So now on that side, I guess, Dan, if you show the long, I guess, I'll just point it, and then you can, yeah, so this side. So that's the west facade. So the west facade now has the blue, and then as you can see along the top of the building, there's a white band. So you have the white banding along the top, then the blue takes up, some of that massing away. And then in the middle of that longer part of the building, you have that wood, the faux wood finish in the middle, and then back to the blue on the back side of the building. So again, introduces different colors in there and also some different schemes. Also, we have the scoring of the concrete. There's also a water table, which is a different color on the bottom for the garage. So again, just trying to bring in different colors, different textures. So let me go through. So we talked about option 1, so option 2 basically is to your left here, and that's pretty much changing out that blue for the beige here. Pretty much everything else stays relatively the same, but it gives it just a more muted color change there. Another change, so like I said, we had the shade louvers over all the windows on all the wood color elevation. So all those louvers you can see on all the windows throughout the building. We added wall sconces to the exterior on both the sides of the front door. So that has, I think someone, it may have been the mayor, I'm not sure, but had mentioned maybe, a big W or something, to show off kind of a logo for the building. So those have been added on either side of the front entry feature. So you can kind of see that, I guess, better on the 2D elevation there.
Circle W.
Mm-hmm.
Looks nice.
Yep. So the water view logo added in 3 places on the front elevation.
Can you
To
turn
again-
so audience can see as well?
So again, lots of scoring, different texture change, material change, and color change. So all trying and keep, and again, when you're looking at a building of this size, you don't want to go crazy with the colors because it's too much, right? Like the building right behind us, that blue on a large building this size, that deep a blue would be too much, right? So you got to look at that massing and how the colors interact with the building. So one of the next changes was the front canopy for the rain protection, so that's for the resident drop-off. So that will cover that outdoor sidewalk, so if you do step out of the building, you're waiting for your ride, you're underneath a covered overhang. So we did take that into account. And then the eyebrow detailed over the wood color areas of the elevation, so that's been added for those window louvers. And then there was an adjustment to, adjustment of the roof of the one stairway to match the entry feature. So again, just trying to bring things and make it more cohesive. You can go through, I guess, slide 13, which is on page 7. That's just what Dan was holding up with the logos and some of the changes, some wall sconces, things like that. Slide 14 is the rendering of the side we were talking about, where we added the color there, and also with that kind of banding on the top, all the louvers over the windows, the wood faux feature. Let's see. On slide 15, this is a plaza elevation, so you can see, again, adding those louvers, the wood feature, and changing up the colors a little bit in there, so again, gives it some variety. And that's what the plaza would look like. So that plaza is actually, so it's in between the C shape of the building, and it's on top of the parking deck. So residents would be able to come out here and kind of enjoy some outside space without leaving the property. And then slide 16 is kind of it's still a rendered view of a 2D, but that's looking into that courtyard space plaza elevation. So slide 17 just quickly kind of goes through conditions of approval. Like we said, the first condition of approval is the TPS letter, so we do have that in hand, and we will be, I think we've provided it, but we'll provide it again for final site plan application, so we already have it, like I said, and no issues with the traffic being proposed by the development. Number 2 is the population of the resident development, and this is basically a level of service for concurrency. We're working very closely with the town's engineers and making sure that that will be addressed prior to final site plan. Same with number 3 is the concurrency approval from the town. We will be obtaining that. And finally, number 4 we talked about was the generator, to make sure that that was screened adequately. As shown in this blow-up version, we believe that that's been addressed, but want to make sure that staff is comfortable with that and that we've adhered to that condition of approval. So with that, happy to answer any questions. Please, like I said, we have the project architect here. If there's a specific question on the architecture or landscape or site plan, we're here to answer any of those questions. So really appreciate the time.
Okay. Thanks. So just before we do, would council want to hear from our planner first, or you have questions at this point?
I can.
Okay, so we'll have Nilsa or our representative have anything you want to add as well?
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good evening.
For the record, I was Neil Leon, planner for the town of Mangonia. Just want to reiterate that in your staff report, option 2, it's a little bit different than what was shown here today. We didn't have this option at the time that we prepared that, so I just want to point that out, that this will be option 2, that's option 1. Mr. Nichols talked about the condition of approval. I just want to put those on the record. Staff recommends the prior to final site plan approval, the applicant should submit the Palm Beach County traffic performance. I believe that's included in your packet now, so that has been satisfied. Prior to final site plan, the applicant should submit projected population of residential development, receive confirmation from the town manager that his population can be accommodated by existing facilities or will provide new facilities at the adopted levels of service. 3 is prior to final site plan approval, the applicant shall obtain concurrency approval from the town. And number 4 is prior to final site plan approval, the applicant shall provide details of the building generator and must enhance landscaping around the generator to ensure it is visually hidden from view and help with noise reduction. As you just saw, the applicant has addressed some of these conditions, but this will be further review of the final site plan to confirm that all of this has been satisfied if the council places agrees with these conditions.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate it. So at this time, we'll see if there's any comments or questions from council, and before we go to the floor. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I just want to say, this rendering is much more appealing to me. It does no longer look like a hospital. It looks like a place to really enjoy living in. So I think the awnings on each apartment topping looks very attractive. The color change makes it look more appealing. And of course, you've done a fine job with the overhanging of the transportation from the pickup in the front. I do need to ask this. You said one-way traffic, and I want to get clear on that because I see the van, which is in position in this diagram, under the awning, and it looks like it's entering from the, I'll just say, the right side of the property facing left to exit. And I think you gave a reverse on that, and I'm concerned.
Yeah, we're gonna have to issue that Palm Tran driver a ticket, because he's going the wrong way. So, yeah, I'm not sure why that's showing it going that way, but it is reversed, because the issue becomes, if you were to come the reverse and you're coming out here as an egress, it's tough to see behind you. You know, it's hard enough 90 degree, right? If you're coming to this stop and this is a 90-degree intersection to see, to look over. So when it's behind you, it's even more difficult, right? So that's why this is a one-way in this direction. So
Oh, okay. I mean, it makes
apologize for
sense.
that, Ms.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
You're good. It should not have been represented that way, so
Okay.
I
Well,
apologize.
the way it is represented makes sense because that's usually the side that people get on and off the vehicle right in front of the door. So that makes sense that way. But it's understandable that you want to provide a better exit of the vehicle than the binding egresses. That exit isn't shown on this, is it?
I think so the site portion of this is an older rendering, but the building was changed out. So I think that's why you're seeing that. It's
Okay.
just an older
Okay, so
site
this really
piece.
show the exiting of that.
Is that the case? Yeah, okay. So it was the building that was updated, just because we wanted to that was the most important piece of it, was the building, so we wanted to make sure that was updated.
Okay, well, the reasoning for the one-way from the left to right, I can appreciate because you do want to have good vision for exiting the property. So that's reasonable. It may be difficult for some people to immediately capture that because usually when you get to the building, you're going to turn and go right in. So I hope there'll be good indications.
Be signage, absolutely.
That will keep them from making that mistake. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, other council comments?
You guys did a great job. Thank you.
Okay. Any other council comments before we go to the floor? Okay, just while the rest of council is collecting their thoughts. Just on the generator, just a question. Now, is this for emergency lighting or life safety, or is it's going to power the whole building? I'm just kind of curious, this information.
The whole building, or?
Right now, we're finalizing the permit drawings.
Okay.
But it is going to be able to power, at a minimum, it'll be able to power the elevators. Dan Oleski, part of the Waterview team. Good to see you all, thank you. But the elevators will be powered as well as some of the common areas. So we want the offices, the amenity areas, so if there is a power outage, they're able to maintain mobility up and down through the building, and there's a common gathering area that will maintain power. So the sizing of that generator is underway, but that's the intent, is that it doesn't just cover emergency lightings, it covers accessibility throughout the building and an area for everybody to assemble and be together as a community if there is a large power outage.
Okay, great. And that's the import of the question, because we know we're in South Florida and we have power outages out just last weekend. Okay, so in the common area, and these are, of course, preliminary questions, is going to be roughly, about 3,000 square feet or so? To have that many
A little
people?
bit more than 3,000
Yeah,
square
little,
feet.
little over 3,000?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, for that type of a census? Okay. Okay, great. Now, and this is, again, just questions as we're going through charging stations. You may have some individuals there with electric cars.
We have not designed in any charging
Okay,
stations at
okay.
this point. It's something we can consider doing, but at this point, we don't have it in the budget, and we haven't considered doing it at this moment yet.
Okay, great. All righty. Those are the questions I had at this point. Now, as it relates also to the proposal, and I did bring up that whole crest, is what I'm going to call it, the big W. That was absent of the louvers. I'm not married to it. It was just something that needed to sort of add something to the front, if you will. So if indeed and if our planner sort of agrees with me that, okay, at this point, the louvers are great enough, we don't need the W circle, then that's fine. And when you came back with the louvers, I'm thinking, okay, great, that's even better. So not in addition to, so to speak, but, okay.
We're okay with both of them. If you-
I
if you
figured
like
you
the
guys were
way-
gonna like it when I.
Yeah, I think it was a good
Okay.
suggestion. We actually have that, you don't have all of the finish levels, but when you go into the elevator area, that symbol we actually already had, and it's on the ground floor as you walk in.
Okay.
That will be embedded, that'll be put into the print of the flooring. So we already had the idea of a symbol and having that as part of the community. So putting it up on the building, just when you mentioned it, it just kind of clicked that made a lot of
Okay,
sense. to do
great.
that, so.
Now, my architectural fee is very minimal, so I'm just let's see if there's any other questions or comments from council.
I do have one, as you made mention of the emergency lighting. What is the emergency lighting on each floor?
So, well, there is code requirement for all the emergency lighting with every floor. So you're gonna have all of your life safety. It's a fully modern, state-of-the-art building.
Okay.
You will have that throughout the whole thing. But in a lot of buildings, there's a requirement that the elevator have battery backup.
Yeah.
That only takes it down to a level, so you don't get stuck on the elevator. We want our elevators to continue operating off of generator power. It's not enough just that somebody's stuck on the third floor. If they're in a wheelchair, they need to be able to get up and down. So we will be able to power the elevators through the wheel.
The common area is my only other question. That's only on the bottom floor, there's not common areas anywhere on each floor?
So there's the main common area where our offices are, supportive services, lounges, the plaza, all of that is on the first occupied floor, so the above the parking garage. But as you go up, there are, I would refer to them as kind of nooks. There are areas that will have programming in them, whether it's a small library area with some chairs and tables, or
Okay.
a card table, and you kind of want to spread those throughout. So if there's a club that does, that likes to play, a card game in the evenings, they've got an area where they can go, and so you will have multiple spaces throughout the building in that area.
That's good to know, thank you. Very good.
Okay, and I'm sure this is covered, and I'll come right to Nilsen. This is covered, but within the whole life safety, you're going to have GFIs throughout. You will have individuals there, perhaps on oxygen. You have a power outage date there. They're going to need to have it. So, okay,
Absolutely, yeah.
oh, great. So Nilsen?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I just wanted to point out that I've been coordinating with the architect, Mr. John Olson. Right after the last meeting, we start texting, emailing, calling each other, and it was a pleasure working with him. And this is the result of this coordination, and mainly the result of your advice and recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, and thanks. We appreciate all of the hard work. Well, certainly. Okay. All right, if there's no other council comments or anything from staff? Okay, so at this time, this is a public meeting?
I'm sorry, I have a couple more I just want to get on the record. Osneal read his comments, his conditions. As he said in the presentation that Josh gave you, the TPSO letter is part of your backup, so I believe that one can come off. Is that right, Osneal? Okay, so he has the other three that were in his letter. The reason that we still have the condition about the generator is we don't have generator specs yet, so we just want to make sure that the landscaping, although like Mr. Nichols said, the landscaping goes around the generator, we just want to make sure it's of a sufficient height, because we're not exactly sure how big the generator is relative, vertically at this point, so we're asking them to give us specs for that equipment. The other thing I want to make sure that the applicant is aware and that is on the record is, I have two legal conditions, and then David Stanbaugh, the town's engineer, also provided a letter that was dated today, which I believe was provided to the applicant's team. And as Mr. Nichols indicated, the applicant doesn't yet have sign-off on concurrency yet, so all of the items in David's letter are required before concurrency sign-off. Concurrency sign-off is required prior to final site plan approval by this body. So I just want to make clear that the applicant is also responsible for satisfying all of the conditions listed in David's October 15th letter. As it relates to both preliminary site plan, there are 5 conditions, and then concurrency review, there are 8 conditions. Is the applicant in agreement with those conditions? Thank you.
Just, I guess, to get on the record, yes, we're in agreement with those conditions.
Thank
great.
you. And then the only 2 that I have, which the applicant hasn't heard yet, but I expect they'll be amenable to these, because we're at preliminary and concurrency isn't signed off on yet, a development agreement is part of the the process in terms of what has to happen to fulfill concurrency. So condition one from legal's chair is that the applicant and the town agree on the form of a development agreement, including but not limited to agreement to provide required off-site improvements prior to final site plan approval by the town council. Again, they're working, as they said, very closely with David, but the extent of the modifications that are needed to satisfy concurrency are not yet known, so that agreement will be required. And the second condition is that the applicant and town agree to the form of a payment in lieu of tax agreement, if necessary, prior to final site plan approval by the town council. So those would be my two legal conditions that I would also ask if the applicant is in agreement with, because we're here before concurrency sign-off.
Yes, we're in agreement with those conditions as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just needed to get those additional things on the record. Thank you.
Okay, all righty, certainly noted for the record. And with that, seeing that there's no other council comments or questions here? Okay, so at this time, we're going to open the floor to public comment. This is a public hearing, so if there's any comment from the public, we'll take that now.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor,
Good
council
evening.
members.
Good evening.
I realize that we're not quite on the final site plan, but I do have a question. Hopefully it can be answered. It's really for David, the engineer. But my question is, with this facility,
I'm sorry, just a point of order. I think the vice mayor is trying to get you to state your name and address for the record.
oh,
We
you know
who
my
you are.
name and address, but I'll repeat it again. My name's Earl Smith, 1624 Crandon Avenue, Mangonia Park, Florida, 33407.
Okay.
So with the final site plan being proposed, it's not there yet. My question is, with this facility that is going to be built or working towards getting built and constructed, my question is, a facility this size, water, sewers, have the engineer took that in consideration? It's going to be adequate water and sewer to facilitate this facility?
Oh, certainly. Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Mayor, the answer to his question is yes, it's the concurrency issues that they're working through now. I think the findings thus far is that, yes, everything is shaping up well there. There's just a few Ts to cross and Is to dot on that, but that's part of the concurrency that the attorney was referring to.
Okay, that's the only question I have. Thank you.
Okay, oh, you're welcome. All righty, so if there's any other questions or comments from the public, we'll take those. Any other questions or comments from the public? If there's anyone online, feel free. There's a slight delay, but we'll take your questions or comments as well, if there's anyone there. Seeing that we have no comment from online viewers, we'll come now back to the dais to see if there's any other questions or comments as it relates to the proposed before us.
I'm imagining that, I didn't look all the way through this, but I'm imagining some of the conditions include the fire department review for, is that part of the conditions? I
That's-
haven't had a chance to read through this, yes.
That's part of the concurrency also.
That's a
Yes, that's
concurrency.
under review and top priority.
Thank you, that's my only other concern.
Certainly. Okay, Amity?
And I guess, Mr. Mayor, just one final comment. I'm sorry, I should have said this when I had the microphone before, but since the applicant provided option one to you in your packet, and there is an additional option here tonight, just make sure in any motions that are made, that's addressed. If you're proceeding with option one, which is in the backup documentation, or if option two is what the council's preference is.
Well, thanks so much, Amity. Now, other questions? Okay. So this, of course, as Amity stated, and thanks so much for that, we have several options that have been presented to us. You have that in your packet. I guess option of a long, lengthy discussion, because they're all great. So the make of the motion, when we get to them, if there's a positive motion, feel free to state your option in your motion, and if there's some questions, we'll get to that when we get to the question. Okay? All righty, so any other questions or comments as it relates to the SR before us? Okay, hearing none. I Yes, we've had sufficient discussion. Okay, with that, motion, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the preliminary site planning along with the concurrency issues that have been identified to be completed.
Second.
Okay, has been properly moved and seconded.
And Mr.
for
Mayor,
the
just to-
motion, so that we're clear on the motion.
Just a
Oh, I'm
clarification
sorry.
on the motion.
And on the proposed option 1, with the blue or gray alternating colors on the sides.
Thank you. And just one additional clarification, was your motion, did it include the town planner's conditions as well and legals?
Oh, yes.
All conditions stated
All
by staff?
conditions.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All conditions as stated, yes.
All righty. And it has been properly moved and seconded. And so again, for the record, so that the record is clear, that would be the condition set forth by our engineers, Kelvin Giordano and Associates, as well as our planner, which they have received, as well as those stated by our attorney. So all three of those entities that have stated their conditions, the applicant and/or his representatives have agreed to all of those. Is that correct for the record? Okay, let the record reflect that they have agreed with all of those conditions. So with that, any other questions on the motion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis Clint,
Yes, for option 1.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Y'all can say yes
Vice
for
Mayor
what?
Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Alberto.
Yes, yes.
Jefferson Davis.
Definitely. I'm not going to argue about the colors with ladies, no. It's not going to happen. So. Okay. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to the shovels coming real soon, but we'll get to the next phase of this all. Okay. All right, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
For coming. Thank y'all for the hard work. Thank you for the canopy.
Thank you for your hard work and the considerations that
Yes,
are in
and to our
place.
staff and to our planners as well. Thank you so much.
Start moving dirt.
Hey, just make sure we're there with our hard hats on. The day you guys break ground, y'all have to promise us that we
yeah.
can be there, all of us with our hard hats on. Don't leave us out.
I'll be,
Yes, we'll get the shovels, bring the shovels. You have the shovels ready for us.
just make sure there's a bow on my shovel, okay?
Yeah, all right,
All
thank
right,
you so
certainly.
much.
And I have several people, I've mentioned this too, and they're like, win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's gonna, those rooms gonna go quick. You guys did such a wonderful job. I'm so proud of you guys. Look like it once soon as I saw it come out. Yeah, that caught my eye.
The blue really is captivating, very captivating, beautiful job.
Okay.
That's why I say you guys did a great job on your comeback.
Okay. And thank you so much. Okay.
I thought y'all.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know there's a lot of excitement around this project, but we're going to prepare to move on our agenda.
That's why I said that.
Okay, again, thank everybody for your hard work on that, but we're going to move on our agenda. Our next item is item 7B, and this is consideration for the renewal of an agreement between the Town of Begonia Park and Chinmore Associates retroactively from September 30th, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, this is just simply to retain the services of our current planning staff, and certainly staff recommends approval for Chinmore retroactive to September 30th to go through, or maybe October 1st, but to go through September 30th of 2025. And of course, the attorney can add to that if need be.
Okay. Amiri?
He covered it beautifully. That's what the agreement before you says. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is the fifth renewal. So the original agreement that the town entered into with the contractor allowed for renewals at the mutual agreement of the parties. So this is the fifth one. So I'll answer any questions you have if you have any.
And Mr. Mayor, certainly staff recommends approval if they can do something about that van that's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, they did fail to correct that, so, okay. Okay, thanks so much, we appreciate it. So with that, are there any questions or comments from council as it relates to the agreement?
So move we approve it.
Okay, motion has been made that we approve the agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Question on the motion?
No, I had a comment before the motion.
Okay, all righty. All righty, seeing that there's no,
Since the motion is, I'll have to finish the motion, then I can make my comment.
all righty, seeing that there's no questions on the motion. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis Quince.
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
And Mayor Almond.
Yes.
It passes unanimously with no question.
Okay, thank you so much. You had something? you wanted
I
say,
just want to
Councilman?
say how much I appreciate the talent that you have exercised with each applicant that has come before us, exercising the most professional and appropriate recommendations for beautification of our town.
Yes.
Appreciate that very much.
And you showed that you care.
Yes,
You
but
showed
definitely.
that she cares from the bottom of her heart.
Look at Nelson.
Thank you for caring.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. I mean, the first contract was in 2015. So next year is our big 10 years anniversary. And I had expressed more than once to Sherry and to Ken, it's the honor of my lifetime to serve the town of Mangonia Park. It's an amazing ride. I mean, things are happening here. You are not like, oh, you have a potential. No, you are it now. Developers are really trying really hard to have a foot in this town. And this is thanks to your leadership. We are just technical, and we can recommend, we can suggest, but it's based on the leadership that each of you has demonstrated all these years. So, and again, thank you so much for continue retaining us as your town planner. It's a privilege to serve to this town.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, and please know that you're part of leadership as well, and all that you do, we appreciate it. Yes, and we only hire the best. Okay, thank you so much, we appreciate it. Okay. Alrighty, so with that, our next item is item 7C, and this is a discussion on the approval of an agreement between the town of Mango. I'm sorry, we just had that.
We're done.
Renewal.
Okay. This is discussion on the approval of an agreement between the town of Mangonia Park and Chinmore Associates to conduct a finding of necessity report. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, so this is something we talked about in detail during the budget process. So we've kind of opened up, again, the idea of looking at a community redevelopment agency. And to do that, the first step is to have a professional conduct a finding of necessity. And the second step would be for the council to approve it, and then ultimately the county would have to approve it. So we do have an indication that it would be looked upon favorably by the county. Worked with Treasure Coast initially to get some, I guess, running interference, if you will, with the county and some conversations going. We certainly gave Treasure Coast the opportunity to quote on this as well. Chinmore was the only respondent to this. Their quote is $60,000, and that's what we have budgeted. Staff would recommend that we enter into this agreement. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Who was that?
Alrighty. Apologies for that slight technical difficulty. The last part of what you were saying, Ken, just to make sure that the record recorded properly.
So the part about the budget, we budgeted $60,000, and that's what the quote is from Chinmore.
Thank you so much, we appreciate it. So with that, and just for the record, and for us sitting here, we understand what we're doing, but the benefits of having the CRA, and even if the planner wants to sort of express, not from the standpoint of lobbying for an approval, but just to sort of explain what the benefit would be for the town to have a CRA.
Yep.
Just whomever would like to do that for us.
I'll give an attempt, and certainly the attorney and the planning staff are welcome to jump in there, but basically it comes down to this, that when you identify an area for redevelopment in the town, that district, and it is governed by a CRA agency board, which would probably be our town council, but you put yourself in position that you reach a point after so many redevelopment dollars have been met, that you actually get to keep a portion of what would normally be going to the county. And I'm talking about the ad valorem part of it. You actually get to keep part of that. So it's a good tool to have to raise an additional revenue, especially if you're looking at expanding utility services or just for town-owned property redevelopment. But that's it, the short version, and probably somewhat incorrect, so I'll let any of our other professionals chime in if they so desire.
I don't have anything to add. I mean, that's generally the concept. I think the critical part that's before you tonight is step one. So to figure out if you can even do this, this is the first study that's necessary. And then it's a statutory process that you go through from there, but that's generally the concept.
Okay, all righty.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to make a clarification. Does this mean there are grants that look for the municipality to have CRA and would give some allegiance to, application process?
So the question was again, as far as,
Sometimes when we're looking for grants, we see they would want to see if we have that CRA in place.
I can imagine, I mean, that's a great question. I don't know exactly, but I can imagine that would weigh favorably.
Because I know I've seen a few
In
that had,
some
when I've
cases,
looked,
yeah.
I've seen it ask for a CRA, and I've said, we don't have that. But maybe we can now look a little far and wider for more funding with the CRA.
Absolutely. It will certainly give you more money to put toward a match if that's the requirement.
All righty. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, all right, thanks, we appreciate it. So if there's any other questions or comments as it relates to?
Just a comment. This came up in the past and was turned down due to the fact that the CRA is just a nice name for eminent domain. And that's why it was turned down the last time.
Okay. Right, I know that there were some modifications to how CRE is operated. I don't want to misstate it or misquote it, but if Amity or anyone else, as it relates to that particular component, that existed or existed by perception.
I'll jump in, just to distinguish a CRA from eminent domain. Eminent domain is what we typically see when, like, let's say the most straightforward example is when FDOT needs to widen a roadway, and they have to take what is currently private property to extend the roadway in one direction or another on one side of a street. A CRA is not the same thing. It is something that's done by the local government. It's created by the local government, but the purpose of it is to redevelop blighted areas. So it's historically you see it in areas where maybe there was a gas station, auto repair, kind of districts where there's clusters of industrial uses that have gone away and become blighted, and it's a way to create a program to incentivize redevelopment of those areas that have, just by virtue of things changing over time, become obsolete, and a lot of times they're affiliated with contamination. That's not always required, but a lot of times in the gas station example, and auto repair and dry cleaners are typically in CRAs. There's a lot of different things that can be in them, but it's a tool to incentivize redevelopment of areas that may have become blighted over the years. But it's different than eminent domain. Eminent domain is where the government the state actually takes private property because they have a public purpose and a necessity, and they have to do that to widen a roadway. So it's different than that.
Good explanation, but don't clear anything up.
All righty. So,
In other words, I didn't change my mind.
okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, to the attorney's point, I'll just follow up with that. I think in years past, there was some of that eminent domain that may have gone on. Riviera Beach had quite a bit of it going on at one time. But the Supreme Court has severely watered down most attempts that local governments can attempt to do as far as eminent domain. So, not saying it would be impossible, and I'm definitely not an attorney, but the likelihood of that happening is very small. And the likelihood of staff recommending that council do that to a resident is very, very small.
Thank you so much. And then keep in mind, too, that it would not be some outside entity. If indeed it were approved, that would be the CR, the member sitting on the board. So if that allays any concerns, it would be perhaps like a lot of municipalities where it's the actual elected officials who are sitting on the board, on the governing board. So we would not, so you wouldn't be able to blame anybody but yourselves if you allow something like that to happen. And I don't think this board sitting here would ever allow anything like that to happen, if indeed it were approved. Okay? All righty, so any other questions or comments? If not, okay, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, so move we approve.
Okay, motion has been made to approve the approval of agreement between the Town of Magonia Park and Chinmore Associates to conduct a finding of necessity report in the amount not to exceed $60,000. Is there a second to that motion?
Second?
It has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any additional questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Buchanan Webb,
Yes.
Councilmember Davis Quince.
Yes.
Councilmember McConnell,
No.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yes.
and Mayor Alberry.
Yes.
It passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you so much. And as it relates to our action items, or the only action items
Yes, sir.
that we have, so at this point in time, we're going to open the floor to public comment. If there's any comment from the public, we'll take that now.
Good evening again. Do I need to state my name again?
For
the record?
For the record, yes.
All right. Earl Smith, 1624 Crandon Avenue, Magonia Park, Florida, 33404. Attorney Minnie, thank you for clearing up some questions that were brought to, I guess, the sitting people in this council chamber about the difference between CRAs and eminent domain. But my question is, it's just my opinion, I think CRA would be a benefit, but I'm just one person. With that being said, I'm going to segue into something that still on my mind and still on the residents' mind, with the possibility that a CRA gets developed and you're voting on representing the 60 grand that we approved. Y'all motion that already, 60K for someone to do a CRA, correct?
Study.
Study, I meant study, not actually. I do have the million-dollar question, the Don King property. Would that CRA come into effect to have that, because it's blighting, I'm saying trees in the gutters and stuff, and it's still an eyesore, so anybody can jump in and answer that, kind of clear that up.
Mr. Mayor, so that's part of what the study will bring out. On the surface, I would think so, but again, that's something the study would have to bring out, what areas would qualify.
Okay, my next question, our final question then would be, it's been many years that property is still there existing. Much workshop, much discussion, still not done. How close, and you probably, maybe I'm asking a question that you can't answer, but curiosity is still there. It is something that I feel this town, the residents deserve, especially when we're doing these studies and spending dollars on these studies. I need these, if they do, it's not I, but the residents need, if these studies go forward, stick, and hopefully, because that's a lot of property there. It's in centralized, you got a train station there, but ain't there. So where are we at? Maybe Nelson can say something to her, or maybe you want to be silent, but where are we at with the Don King property?
Mr. Mayor, so I guess the best way to answer that is we have conversations every day with somebody. Some developers are a little bit further along than others. You know, there's been no deals made as of yet, but there are a lot of conversations that have taken place. And Mr. Mayor, that is his 3 minutes. but I hope that answers that somewhat.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, and thanks so much, we appreciate it. Any other public comment? Any other comment from the public? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the floor to public comment. We'll come back now to the dais. And at this time, Ken, you have anything?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, thank you for your time and attention this evening. I'm just going to give a few things, if I can remember them. We enjoy working with NILSA as well as all of our consultants. They've all done a very good job on this water view. This has been a lot of work, a lot of conversations, a lot of stress, but we're glad to be where we're at with that. We would like, when I say we, town staff, specifically Sherry and I, for each council member to come in before the week is up and let us share our vision of what we think the next gala should look like, sound like, be promoted as. So just drop in on your leisure. Let's have a conversation individually. We'll save that for our individual conversations. We want your feedback, but I like some of the vision that we have right now. So that'll be coming up soon. Haven't nailed down the specific date, but obviously that'll be in December. We want to get your feedback, and then we want to go out with those invitations very soon. So we're making the assumption that council would want to do one. So if you don't want to do one, you can, certainly state that opinion as well. But otherwise, report on the beautification project got underway this past weekend. Actually, a few weeks ago when we started shaving the trees, we did get the water tank. However, we're going to have to return it and get something a little bit smaller. It's just a bit, when it's fully loaded, it's too heavy for our trucks. So we wouldn't be able to afford a truck that big right now, so we're going to have to get something smaller. Certainly, we haven't seen a drop of rain since those plants went in, oddly enough, but that did start. We got 45th Street mostly done. He'll do Australian this weekend, and I'll be happy to answer any questions on any topic that you may have.
Thank you so much. Any questions, Ken?
It's not a question, well, it is a question and a statement. What I wanted to ask about is the media. I see they're coming out really nice. Could you get someone to take a shovel, perhaps, on the media on the side? You have a lot of grass and dirt, on the side of those media, and kind of just shovel it or just take it right up. I think I mentioned this before.
Edging it,
yes,
sort of thing.
on the side, on the outside of the
Right.
media.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying.
Where they have all the extra grass peeping out, and because once you clean that up, because it's looking really good. Did you have anything to do with that? I thank you guys for getting this project done, because it's going to make this town look so much beautiful once we finish all the medias. Are we going to do the one in front of Don King, because it's just plain grass?
So that's a great question, and to that, we can't do that one because that is one that is strictly county maintained. Where you see the medians with the trees, we have an agreement with the county that those are ours. At some point in years past, the town put in those trees, and the agreement with the county was that we would maintain those medians. So the ones that are just strictly grass, we really can't do much with that. We do cut the grass.
But can we ask the county, get approval to decorate it and make it look pretty, instead of just having, you got this media, this one, you got a blank, just plain grass? Can you talk to them about making that, beautifying that? I mean, they can say yes or no.
I'll be happy to, sure.
Please, yeah, because once I looked at it, I was like, my husband said, you're not gonna believe it, they did it. I said, let me get in the car and go see. So I'm just so proud of you guys for getting that done.
Thank you.
It's looking good. And finish shaving the trees and put some skirts on them.
Yeah, it's looking a whole lot better. Okay. Any other questions or comments we can? Okay, if not, okay. All righty, Galati? Okay, so any questions for PBSO? Okay, thank you guys. I so much for, I see you out there all the time, and thank you so much for keeping us
Oh,
safe.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, Amity?
Just really quickly, Mr. Mayor, thank you. You received, I think before this meeting, Ken and I let you know that we were going to be proposing vacation rental fees. So you've gone through the process, you've adopted your vacation rental ordinance. Now the next step is to implement the ordinance that you adopted. So a resolution was circulated with proposed fees. I also gave Manager Metcalf some different numbers from other jurisdictions. So we looked at what other folks are charging and came up with a proposed number. We're looking for feedback from you on those numbers. So if you haven't reviewed them yet, if you could review them and get with Manager Metcalf or myself. The next step will be to bring the actual resolution with the fee schedule revision to you. So I think the town is getting inquiries on this. So I think the intent is to bring to your next meeting a resolution, if the council's okay with that. So if you could give us any feedback you have as quickly as you can, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are people calling who want to start the registration process, because now we have an ordinance on the books. So we need to put it in motion at some point. So one of the next meetings that you have, we'd like to bring that to you.
Great, I appreciate it. Anything else?
No, sir, thank you, that's it.
Any questions or comments for a meeting? Ken?
Mr. Mayor, one item. So our November 5th meeting is canceled. That's Election Day. In between now and November 19th, it may be necessary for us to do a special called meeting, maybe to address that. We do have the septic to sewer project. We need to award a contract to a contractor. And there was one other, oh, yes, we do have a development project that needs review. So we may be looking at the 29th as a special called meeting, just for 2 or 3 items, but no meeting on November 5th.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I'll take Chair's privilege to, if there is any minute or two comment from our planning department. Okay. And thank you so much for all you do. Thank you. Okay. All righty, so with that, Councilwoman Webb, have anything?
Yeah, I have a whole list. So I want to start with Nelson. I echo the same sentiments as everyone else, but I'm still waiting for that big, nice, lovely splash pad, you know, for our kids. One of these days in the works, right? And Ken, I'm starting to think it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. As soon as I see those things going up, I'm like, yeah, our trees are gonna have lights on them, the poles are gonna be lit.
Yes.
Yeah, I could just see Mangonia Park, the poles will be singing and dancing, Christmas will come.
Mr. Mayor, was there a question in there?
I think it sounded like a directive.
And then for our sheriff's office, so I seen them out there working the other day, right? So this plane car pulled up. I kind of knew the guy was gonna get pulled over, but you ever like have that moment like, oh my God, they're gonna pull me over for what? At first I thought he was gonna pull me over, but I know it was straight. He had to see that other car just dancing. I believe the guy was either drunk or something. But when he came out, I thought he was gonna pull me over, and I'm like, how could he not see that car in front of me, type of thing. But he came from around me when it pulled him over. But that's just to show you that it happened so fast, and he had to have been like really observing the road to see that it was actually that car he needed to pull over and not me. So thank you. Kudos.
So thank you. That's part of the council meeting, thank you.
Yeah, I think he was drunk, because he was wavering from Australian coming down type of thing. But it was just the way it happened. I'm like, no, he's not gonna, I've been good.
So our guys
That's all
are
I
out
have.
there, and they're on guard. So, oh, yeah. All right, anything else, Councilwoman Webb?
We would have been, I'm like, no, not me. It's had to be the other guy, not me.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
Councilwoman
I
Davis?
just would like to know one other thing. I'm sorry to bother you. By the time this apartments are done, I don't know how we're gonna get this lake cleaned out that's directly behind. What are we gonna do about that? And I know it's privately owned, but it is a mess. It used to be so beautiful. They used to have lights lit up years ago, and water sprinklers coming out of it. I don't know what we can do about that so the residents don't have to look down at that, all that.
Council member, so you're right, it is privately owned, but the town is engaged in a, sounds like my answer to the highlight. We have conversations going on all the time about it, and hopefully before the calendar year is up, we have some solutions to some problems over there. But We've talked to the majority owner of the condominium association and with the business, so we're trying to stay engaged with that. And I think the attorney would back me up on that. We've had a few, in particular about the seawall, so.
Right. And there's nothing we can do about it. Can't find them or anything. I mean, something should be done about it. It looks a mess. See what we can do, Ms. Smitty, what you can find that we can do with that. Now, that's your eminent domain. That's what we need to be able to do on that. Just saying. Go ahead. I'm
Anything else?
done.
Okay, Councilman McConnell?
Don't let your guard down. Hurricane season is not over.
Oh, Lord, it's been rough for some people.
My shutters are still up.
Pray for the people.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
The only thing I wanted to say, I'm just excited about our Parks and Rec Department now has a flyer of activities that are coming up. And it'll be coming out to everyone soon. But you did mention to me today, October 30th, a fall festival fun night.
I think that is the 31st.
Third first, yeah.
October 31st, I didn't say 31st? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
October 31st, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. So if you all get the word, let's come out and join in, help to fill it. Any comments you want to make about what is
So,
that?
yeah, on that event, that's basically a trunk or treat type thing. One thing I failed to mention, next Monday evening at 6 p.m., we are going to have a representative or two from the League of Women's Voters come out and explain these new proposed amendments in a very neutral kind of way. They will explain it. So Monday at 6, we hope all the council members will come out and help us spread the word on that.
Certainly,
Don't
okay.
let us forget. Keep
The date of Monday is the
the 21st, I'm sorry.
remind us, please.
21st at 6.
All right.
Okay, that's good to know. And I do hope we also have a little discussion about the voter power, like my home safe plan. It allows residents to get very adequate help with their needs as far as the how do I say, the water and electricity access to the home, to say it that way. And we're going to share that information as well.
All righty.
That kind of covers me, I think.
Okay, so I'll just, as they say, segue from there. And we have our website that we can just post some of those things as well. We encourage people to go to our website and get information. Now, how are we coming with our text blast thing, robo-texting?
So, Mr. Mayor, it's up and running. We don't have a lot of people that have signed up for it. Last count, as of last week, we only have 36 people that have signed up for it. But it is up and running. We used it quite a bit over the past week with the hurricane, and we just encourage anyone that wants to sign up, call us, or, let me know. We'll forward you the information on how to. It's a pretty easy process to get on there, and then you'll get all the information that we send out. But it's working great. I mean,
Just
it's
don't
a
have the
good
volume
thing.
of participants yet. Okay, yeah, hopefully we can grow it. Easiest way to get information out. Yes. Okay. All righty, I have nothing other than to, a personal thanks to Councilman McConnell. I was putting up shutters and was killing my hand, and I called him and he let me borrow his drill. So thank you so much for being a good neighbor. I appreciate that. He didn't come and take them down, he just let me. And thank you so much, I appreciate it. Okay, that's a good neighbor. So with that, if there's,
I just want to hope that everyone was safe from our last deluge of tornadoes, which has been the historic events for Florida. And hopefully we won't have that again. And if we have anything coming our way next, I hope everyone remains safe.
absolutely, stay safe and vigilant. Okay,
I like that.
so with that,
Smitty, one, I'm sorry, and this is it. Smitty, by any chance, were you able to talk to
okay,
the
a little
county?
louder in the mic.
Were you able to talk to the county about the dividing lines? over
No,
in the Hill
I'll,
section?
I'll call you with an answer to that. I don't have a final answer yet, but I will get you the final answer on that.
Okay, that way they can complete.
The
that
striping.
project. Yes, the
That's right.
striping,
Yep.
yes, in the Hill section.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay,
that's it.
all righty, so with that, if there's nothing else,
so moved.
Thank you so much. We have a motion for adjournment. Is there a
Yes.
second?
Second.
Okay, has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Have a great evening.
Thank you all for being here.
Nice to know.
Certainly.
Well, are you posting us? Are we
And I
gonna get
don't have no
posted?
makeup on. No, wait, let me fix my hair.
Hey, look, you can use your computer, it works. Captain, we done now. Ooh, y'all, tell me.
No, so where you putting this picture?
Oh, you want us down? Okay, you want us down here?
What are you gonna do with this picture?
Stay up. Why don't we stay up and go?
Let's move together up
I
here.
don't know where you're gonna put it at, honey. We gotta make sure. Shorty just asked, what did my shorty know? Shorty's like, I fit in.
Ma'am, I have to shake your hair, you know?
I have to make sure my hair is not sticking